welcome. I'm out in the garden today preparing the outdoor garden beds for this year's planting, clearing off the remains of last year's debris and topping them up with a fresh coating of grassy mulch. Now this first bed closest to me I actually did a few weeks ago, just pulled up any weeds that were there and I've covered it with a layer of weed suppressing fabric and some wire netting to weigh it down, just to stop anything else trying to grow until I'm ready to plant into it. This second bed up that's looking very green, I have just prepared before I thought to switch the camera on. And this one here that's actually got a couple of old leeks growing in it that I plan to leave to allow to flower this year. I'm just about to get ready, so I thought I'll bring you along and show you what I'm doing. Now I cut some grass late yesterday evening and I didn't put the grass box on the mower. I just allowed it to throw the grass out the back. So I have these nice long strips of chopped up grass. Now ideally I want to leave that lying at least until tomorrow, and even better still the day after that. But here I am early in the morning out preparing garden beds, so I'm going to use it green today. Now at this point you could run your mower over this again with a grass box on it this time and collect up all those chopped up dried dead grass clippings. But personally I'm just walking along the rows and scooping it up off the ground, ready to lay it on my nice new prepared beds. So let's go and prepare a bed ready for all this chopped up grass. Now I garden in raised gardens beds on a no-dig system, and I also use a Ruth Stout method of mulching on top of my beds all summer long. As I said, I cut grass yesterday and I've just left it lying in rows to dry out in the sun and the wind. There's not much wind actually, and it has been quite sunny already this morning. Now this bed has just been lying here dormant all winter. I think these long stems were nasturtiums, so we'll clear those away. And these can go into the compost. And there's also quite a thick layer of dry grassy mulch from last year still lying on top of this bed. And as I scoop it back, it's really moist and lovely in here. I'll bring you up close for a really good look. Here's one of the many things I love about the Ruth Stout gardening method of laying down hay mulch on all of your garden beds. This was put on last year, and although it looks all dry and dead, and this very top layer of grass is, if I just scrape it back, underneath we have this lovely, rich, composty soil from several years of constantly adding layers and layers of grassy mulch. You could just dig a hole in this now, plant whatever plant you're planting, perhaps your potatoes, beans, sunflowers, marigolds or poppies, it doesn't matter, vegetables or flowers. They could be planted straight into this lovely, rich, composty soil now, and another layer of grassy mulch added on top. But today I'm going to clear away all of last year's dead plant stems before I add my next layer of grassy mulch, which will keep that lovely soil covered and protected until I decide what I'm going to plant in here this year. Because of the no-dig and the raised bed, so you're never walking on your soil, compacting it, it's all loose and soft and fluffy. Any weeds or tufts of grass that appear in your beds are so much easier to pull up and get rid of, rather than snapping off ready to re-sprout the minute you turn your back. So I'm going to finish clearing this bed and I'll show you what we do next. So having scraped off that top layer of last year's dead plants, I'm going to give this bed a handful of blood, fish and bone. Now I haven't done any digging here, I have literally just scraped off that top surface of dead plants. A good all-round garden feed of blood, fish and bone. I want a bit up there for the leeks. There you go, folks. And top that off with my lovely freshly collected grassy mulch. Now I am going to sprinkle it on till it's a good inch, preferably 2 inches deep, and even 3 inches is fine. I'm sprinkling it on loose and fluffy, and given a day or two it will compact down on its own wonderfully. Now ideally, if you can cut your grass and leave it lying out in the sun for a day or two until it's all brown and dry like hay, looking like this grass that was actually cut about 2 weeks ago, it's even more perfect. But as the green stuff is all I have today, that's what I'm going to use. It'll dry out on here just fine by itself. Once you're ready to plant whatever you're planting this year, lift your grass away, dig a little hole, plant your plant, and put your mulch back around it. Now if you're planting seeds, take off your mulch, mark your row for your seeds, put in your seeds and leave it open and well watered until those seeds start popping up and showing themselves. And once your plants are big enough, you can start reapplying this mulch around the lower edges of them. It keeps the soil moist, it keeps the weeds out and gives all your soil bugs and microbes and life something to live on, and continue keeping this lovely fluffy growing medium for your plants. So I'm going to cover this one up now so it looks just like the one I've already done. And here's the bed, all covered in fresh green grass cuttings. So they'll brown off today and tomorrow. Now I've got this lovely flowery thing, survived in the polytunnel over the winter. It's from seeds put in last year. I'm going to have to go and search out my old seed packets and labels, see if I can find out what it's called. I've been watching it for a few weeks.
An update
to see what
in
these
the
green
polytunnel.
buds of flower turn into. And looks like they're going to be a nice yellowy orange. The lettuces and peas I put in only about 4 or 5 days ago are all settling in nicely. The lettuces in particular are looking nice and upright and strong. So good, strong, healthy lettuces, only a few days after being transplanted. And that thornless blackberry that was heavy in bud is now opening its first few blossoms. I'm not sure there's anything in here to pollinate it though. So I've been going round and giving them all a little shake in the hope we might get some fruit. Nice and early too, by the looks of it. Interesting. There's a stink bug beetle crawling around this flower. Perhaps I don't need to worry about pollination after all. I'm not keen on the stink bugs, just because they do stink, but only if you start handling them. So I'll leave them alone and we'll be just fine.
If you've enjoyed today's video,
Don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. Bye for now and thanks for watching. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.